In this video, we will discover how to book your first cruise at a discount. Let's get started. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you are enjoying the content on the channel thus far, please like, subscribe, and share. I really appreciate all of the support. Now let's get talking about cruising. First, we will need to determine what type of cruiser you are. Are you looking for a fun or laid-back atmosphere? Are you traveling with kids or teens? Are you looking for a bit of peace and quiet? Or are you the more adventurous type? There are several cruise ships out there, and each one has a unique vibe and its own culture. The best thing is to do a bit of research to determine what line may be best for you. I suggest starting with searching cruisecritic.com. Cruisecritic.com is a website that offers reviews by past cruisers over a huge range of ships. For my cruising style, which is to have fun and have plenty of activities on board without being too crowded, Carnival is the best choice. It provides all of that for myself, my husband, and our teenagers. Now that we have found what line appeals to you, you will need to determine when you will be traveling and for how long. The length of the cruise and the time of year will help determine how expensive the base charges for the cruise will be. To save money, avoid traveling during the peak season, which is May to September. Also, avoid travel around major holidays, which would be New Year's and Christmas. Now, there is one exception to that holiday travel rule, and that is Thanksgiving. Cruises around this time are a bit cheaper because it's further along in the off season. And if you're interested in traveling during a holiday season, Thanksgiving would be your best bet. It is worth mentioning that traveling on any cruise ship during spring break will be expensive, but if you are looking for a real party atmosphere, my suggestion is to book a 3-day cruise during this time. Now, let's discuss the length of the cruise. There are cruises that are as short as 3 days and as long as 3 weeks. The length of the cruise provides differing pricing. Typically, a shorter cruise will cost less over the length of the cruise, but more per day. So here we will see an example of how the dates that you choose can determine, and the time of year can determine the amount of your cruise. So what I'm going to do is adjust for a 3 to 4 day cruise, and then we're going to adjust it by where we will be sailing from, sailing to, which is Mexico. And you can see here the 4-day Baja on 2 different ships from Los Angeles to Mexico. If you can see on the left, January is outside of the main cruise season. This is the cheapest cruise across the board. However, the more expensive one, which you could see, was right smack dab in New Year's Eve, which is 3 times as expensive as the cruise that was 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. So here we see a clear example of where your timing will determine your price. My suggestion for first-time cruisers is that you take a 3-day cruise just before or after the peak season. This way you are able to gauge how well you will do on a ship, or if you even enjoy being on a ship, and you would be spending less money to find out. Let's just imagine if your first cruise was 7 days and you find out that you get seasick on the first day. Number one, you're going to have to purchase seasick pills, which are expensive on board the ship. Number two, you're going to be sick and stuck on a boat for 7 days. That would taint anybody's opinion of cruising. So take a shorter cruise to see if you like the activities and the atmosphere, and then based on that experience, you can take longer cruises or change cruise lines as you see fit. Now that we have our game plan, we know when we want to travel, the length and what type of cruise we are looking for, let's explore available cruises. As I stated in a previous video, which I'll link up in the cards, I am more familiar with Carnival, so this is where we will be going to book a cruise. Okay, so we will be using Carnival's website to book a cruise, and we will navigate there now. As you can see in the top right, there is a link to today's specials. Click here and you can begin to search for available cruises that are discounted. Since you're new to cruising and you don't have any loyalty points yet, this is one of the best options for finding a discounted cruise. But you can also go through a travel agent that might provide you other discounts. I, however, prefer to book my own vacations, so that's what I do. Let's say I am looking for a 3-day cruise just before the peak season of 2023. What I will do is scroll up and click limited time offers. Those are offers that are available to everyone. Those offers do not require a VIFP club members only number. And you see here we have two offers. One provides 35% off cruise rates. The other provides 40% off with a $50 onboard credit. But what I'm going to do is look at the ones that provide a 35% off discount. Now we are going to adjust the cruise for the time and dates that we are looking for. First, we're looking for the dates that this cruise discount is available. As you can see, it's generally during off season. So we're going to pick the month that falls right before spring break to see what it's going to look like. We're going to choose the 3-day option, and then we're going to choose where we will be sailing from. You see there are options to sail from the Bahamas, to the Bahamas from Port Canaveral, and there's an option from Los Angeles. Since I'm closer, I'll choose Los Angeles. As we can see here, you have 5 available range of dates rather, and some they kind of vary in price, but you can see in the middle of March they are completely sold out. The cheapest one is the first week of March versus later on. So here we have chosen the dates from March 3rd to March 6th, 2023. As you can see, the price per person is $184, taxes and fees $208, and there are prepaid gratuities, which I will discuss in a moment. We have chosen the interior room under the pack and go sale. This pack and go sale is something I wouldn't necessarily choose, and I'll explain. It requires you to allow the cruise ship to choose your room. Now, sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes that's a bad thing. I like having a little bit more control over where I travel or what I travel in. So right there, I was noting the name of the ship is the Radiance, and that's very important. You must find out the name of your ship, because then you will be able to go and look at the ship, pull up a PDF of the deck plan so you can decide what room you would like, or have an idea of where you would want to go as far as the deck level, because that does make a difference. Some decks are included in that price and some decks are not. And then you also want to see where you are on the boat, meaning that the back, which is called the aft, the middle, which is mid, and the front, which is forward. They have different advantages. Okay, so here I'm looking at the lowest deck. The decks on these boats used to go from top to bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now they go from bottom to top. Maybe number 1 is the lowest deck, number 12, 13, 14 higher decks. Okay, if you get seasick, or you think you might get seasick, you don't want to be on a lower deck, and you don't want to be towards the front or back of the boat. However, if you are not worried about that, then you can choose any portion of the boat, and they do have parts where you can see the accessibility of the boat, which is what we're looking at now. If you have anyone who has accessibility challenges or ambulatory challenges, people who need wheelchairs or canes are often on the boat, and they have room specifically for them on each different deck because they have elevators, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue to get back and forth and up and down. Also, they have a legend right here that we're looking at, and this is the legend for how the rooms convert. So say it's 4 people then you need to have enough for 4 beds. And there are different ways to convert the beds. The beds can be put together. You can have upper Pullmans, which is basically 2 bunk beds that pull down from the ceiling. Sometimes you can have 1 bunk bed that pulls down from the ceiling, and the other one would be a sofa bed that's next to the 2 main beds that are pushed together. Now here we are looking at the deck plan. As I said, 1 is the lowest, all the way up to 13. Some boats have 20 are the highest. What you want to do when you're looking at the deck plan is to avoid any room that is not fully surrounded by cabins. And what I mean is that you should get a room that is not underneath any major activities or above any major activities, because you're going to get noise from those things. So this deck right here, deck number 2, not good, because it's sitting right below the main atrium, and all of the rest of the main stuff is like right below it. Well, that's where everybody comes into the ship at. So then if you scroll over, we're now looking at the higher decks, and I'll scroll down so you can see what deck number this is. So this is deck number 7 from the right, from 6, 7, 8. I'm looking at 7 right here. You see deck 7. Below it is cabins. Below and up above are cabins. So deck 7 would be a prime cabin. But say you want to be a little bit forward because you want to get a little bit of a discount, then you would go with one of these decks, because again, they are surrounded, but they are closer to some activity. So you may get some noise. But from what I understand, the ones that are closer to the water slide get more noise than the ones that are closer to maybe the pool area. Okay. Scrolling up again, you can see what the categories are for each cabin type. Some of them are special ones, they're premiums, and some of them are ocean view, grand ocean views. You have other ones that are spa accommodations, which give you access to the spa. Unlimited access during your voyage, as a matter of fact. Okay. So with keeping all that in mind, you can determine where you want to go. Like I'm pointing here, this particular deck, you're right below the main showroom. Not a good place to book a room, but it's one of the cheaper places because you are below the main showroom. So if you don't plan on spending a lot of time in your room and the noise isn't going to bother you, go ahead. Some people say, oh, I don't think I can travel in an interior. I'm one of those people. Our next cruise that we're taking shortly is an interior room. So I'll let you guys know how that is, because I've never been in an interior. I've only been in the ocean view. And honestly, on one of the cruises we took, we were able to get an ocean view room by just, it was oddly shaped. It was basically right over the anchor, and we were able to get that room for a interior price. But we had a nice ocean view room, and because of where it was situated, we had a little bit of extra room in our cabin. Okay, so now we're going to cover the pricing. Now you see that little red tag, that means there are deals available. So we go ahead and look at the dates, and we're going to choose a sailing that has a deal available. So why don't we look at the one that we know was the least expensive, which was the March 3 one. That doesn't have a deal, but the ocean view does. So we'll go ahead and navigate to that one. And this is based on 2 guests, $289 per guest, with prepaid gratuities of $87 and your port fees and expenses of $208.54. Looking down, it has a different discount, which is the early saver sale, which is Carnival honestly has it all the time. 50% discount, and you get to choose your room and you get price protection, but you are on a lower deck. And this is rated at 2 people. Now, just a quick tip here. The quicker you pay off your cruise, the better, because port fees and expenses can increase. And so if they do increase after you've paid it, Carnival will give you onboard credit for it. Okay. So now we're going to look what happens with our pricing if we change it to, and these are 2 different ways of looking for deals. So you can just go straight to trying to find a cruise and put how many people you want in there and try to find you a deal. I'm going to try the 55 and over, even though I'm not 55 and over. Some of you might be, so let's try it. And this will give you all of the discounts, everything that you can get for each room type. Okay. So right now we are seeing the balcony and the suites. They have that same early saver sale That's giving you 50% off of your deposits. But look, each one of those rooms have the same deposit for 4 people because it's 50% off. It's $200. But look what happens when you have the interior. The interior is not a part of that sale. And in this case, you have to pay almost half of your cruise as a deposit. So it looks like the better sale right now is the early saver sale because there are no interiors to be bought. You could save a little bit of money up front. You're going to have to pay the same amount of money. You can save a little bit of money up front and get you a better room for $200 more for 4 people. A little bit more room. Get you a window. You can put that money towards, an extra, $500-$600, and then you have a balcony or a better view. But like I said, unless you're going to spend a whole lot of time in your room, I don't see that there's a need, especially on a 3-day cruise, to get anything above the ocean view. Okay, here's the scenic ocean view, which is a different window. It doesn't open, but it's a larger window. But you see, it's $244 additional over the price of the room, of the cabin, not over for each person. It's just over the price of the cabin. These amenities are the same amenities that come with into an interior room as well as an ocean view room. Okay, so when you choose your room, then you can see all the offers that are truly available. And once you can see that, you see that those offers are the same. What's the difference? 50% deposit, and you get to choose your room. If you don't care where you are, they can stick you in not so great rooms. So I always choose the discount that allows me the most off of my deposit and the ability to choose my room. Now, sometimes here is a place you can find discounts for the food packages or for the drink packages that are included in some of these sales. At this point, there are none. So there are none to choose from. But as you can see, some of these discounts are good, some of them not so great. You would think that being closer to October 31st, it would be a cheaper room. And actually, it's more by $50. So, $50-$60. So that's another thing to keep in mind, that just because you're closer to the sailing date does not mean you're going to get a discount with the cruise lines, because they're always running discounts of some sort. Also keep in mind that the 3rd and 4th cruiser typically on Carnival is getting half off, and I'll show you that a little bit later. So getting back to what we were talking about, the back, the middle, and the forward. You can choose, if you're choosing your room, this is where you would be brought to choose which part of the ship you want to be in. So typically they will show what is the deck that is available that is included in the price. As you can see, there are 2 sold out, and then the other 2 are included. If we go forward on the ship, we will see that there is only, again, the same 2, Main and Riviera. So clearly nobody wants to be at the bottom if you don't mind being closer to the waterline, because you feel more of the boat moving at that point. And then you have the aft part of the ship, which is the back, and they do have a little bit higher deck, which is deck 5. Now remember, this is where it becomes very important that you have had your deck plan available. So here we have the deck plan available, and we're looking at the Riviera, or the deck number 5. I'm sorry, not Riviera, Promenade deck, or deck number 5. Now, as you can see, deck number 5, it does have a bit of activity there. It only has cabins at the aft part of the ship. So that is actually $12 additional. That's not per day. That's just $12 overall. And so if you look in the back, you can see, okay, well, these are the ones that they have available. And if you're selling with 4 people, it has a little square, which means that one would be a pull down bunk, and the other one would be a sofa bed. So you'd have the 2 beds pulled together, 1 sofa bed, and then 1 pull down Pullman for somebody who would be willing to go up that high and stay up there on the boat. And there are ways there's a little harness up there that'll keep you up, that is available. But once you choose your room, it's going to show you the stateroom that's available within what you're requesting. These are the only staterooms that are available at this time for that number of people and for that particular deck. So You would want to avoid the stateroom that is closest to the elevator because clearly it's going to have the most noise. And if you see it here, there it is right there on our little deck plan. So we know, even though it's not underneath, it's above. Basically, it's above the restaurant in the back, the aft restaurant, but it's not below. Thank goodness, because then you probably get more noise with that one. So here we are. So that's why you need to know what the boat is, and check in and make sure you have your deck plan open when you're deciding on which room to continue with. So here again, $12 extra. It wasn't over for everybody, it was just over the total cost. And your deposit still remains to be $200. Cruise is not due until, I believe, 60 days prior to sailing. 60 or 90 days prior to sailing. The longer and further out that you plan your cruise, you can get 3 optional payments from Carnival to pay. Now, the reason why I checked the prepaid gratuities to show you that does not change your deposit price. But if you prepay your gratuities, you can stop those from going up as well, because cruise ships will determine when they want to raise the gratuity amounts. And so if you pay for all of that at one time, you have it all together, then you're able to save a little bit of money. So I do understand that this video has ran a little long, but there was a lot of information to cover today. In the next video, we will be discussing information on how to save on shore excursions, food and drinks, one of which I've already given you, which is to choose the package that shows the discount, but they didn't have any available this time. Again, if you have any questions, you can put them in the comments below. If you enjoy the content, please like, subscribe, and share. I do appreciate all of your support. Thanks a lot for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.